all engines go. Welcome to the angle. Let's start the show. Hold on tight, the stage is set. Dig in deep with no regrets. Red and green bars leading the way. Welcome to the angle. No time to delay. Markets rise and markets fall. Atomcash is ready to answer the call. While the bulls charge hard and the bears dig deep, the angle will keep you on your feet. Hold on tight, the stage is set. Dig in deep with no regrets. Red and green bars leading the way. Welcome to the angle, no time to delay. Cashing in on the highs and lows where the wind of fortune constantly blows. No looking back, keep your eyes on the prize. Fuel the run with a fire that never dies. Hold on tight, the stage is set. Dig in deep with no regrets. Red and green bars leading the way. Welcome to the angle, no time to delay.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Atomcash Angle, the show that flips the switch and floods the system with straight financial voltage. I'm Atomcash, and whether you... I messed up the intro. I'm bringing you the firepower that your financial life has been missing, and whether you're new to trading or a trading savant, I aim to turn complexity into clarity with a shot of adrenaline. Okay, I fixed it. And today, I have an exhilarating lineup of segments to give you all as much information as quickly as possible. Now, as per usual, we are going to do our live trading and market analysis right around market open. But the one segment I know a lot of you are looking forward to is our dumpster diving segment. So this is a stock. I've dug up a stock from the depths, the underground of the stock market. All of the bad stocks have been beaten up and torn down. All of these names have been ripped from their highs that might actually have potential. We are going in the trash today, and I have found one gem, someone else's trash that could be your treasure. A tech name, I should say, that is down 97% from all-time highs. And I believe could be a solid turnaround candidate. So if you like tech stocks, if you like a name that could be a solid turnaround candidate with a decent risk to reward, dropping from the almighty high of 97% of where it was at its highs, currently trading in the single digits with a $400 million market cap. So that kind of gives you an idea of how valuable this company was at one point, being clean over $100. You might want to stick around for that. That segment's going to be coming up around 9:45 to 10 o'clock. So make sure you do not miss that, because this is a name you should have on your watch list every single day, because it's something that I, full transparency, have not gotten into yet, but I'm very excited to personally get into. And just to be very clear, as I like to do on this program, if I do have a position, I'll tell you I have a position. I do not have a position yet, and especially with these kinds of segments, I like to not have a position until I put out a video and say I don't have a position, and then I can take my position when I want. So that's what I'm going to do. So I will be taking a position in this company. I have not taken a position in this company yet, to try to give you as unbiased of opinion as possible, but obviously you can see I'm a little excited about it. So I will be having a position in this company in the near future. I will not tell you when, but I will. Anyway, welcome to the show. Market is up as of right now at the open, about $2 from yesterday's close. Really not much of anything going on this week. Again, we saw a little bearishness on Monday, a little bit of consolidation yesterday. We really went nowhere yesterday, and now perking back up here. So we'll get into that in a little bit here. I do want to go over our catalyst watch for the day as per usual and make sure that we have our have our wits about us to make sure that we're well aware of what could be coming down the pike today. Now, as I mentioned yesterday, today is the original day when those tariffs were supposed to be implemented, and since then things have changed. However, maybe keep that in the back of your mind in case something happens with certain trade deals happening today that may or may not happen. Just because that was, or today I should say, was the original day of these tariffs supposed to be implemented. I think my English there wasn't great. When those tariff deals were supposed to be implemented. There, that was a better way to say it. So we want to keep a tight eye on that today, just in case Trump sends out a tweet or anything like that could obviously move the market. So just keep that in the back of your head. Outside of that, you do have FOMC meeting minutes, and I mentioned this on, I believe, on Monday's show. I personally don't think that is much of a catalyst. In the past, it could be a catalyst, but typically with your meeting minutes, you want to look for any information in there that is already not known by the market. And I think the market has a good grasp on where the Fed is going with moving into a rate cutting environment in the near future, whether that is August or September. Is kind of what the expectation is. A lot of traders are pricing in a September cut. I'm personally looking for an August cut, which is a little bit more aggressive. But I don't think anything will be said in those meeting minutes to really surprise the market, simply due to the fact that any information there is kind of already known. At least that's my personal take on it. This was added today, though. Trump has a lunch with African leaders at 12:05. So if that's filmed or whatever, something could be said. So maybe keep that in the back of your head. Outside of that, not much on the docket for today in terms of potential landmines or news catalysts. And honestly, a pretty quiet rest of the week. You do have jobless claims tomorrow at 8:30 pre-market. Outside of that, just double checking Friday here. Nothing really on Friday either. So really, jobless claims tomorrow pre-market's the only big deal in my opinion. So as I said on Monday, it's looking like we're gonna have a pretty quiet week for the stock market in terms of news catalysts or anything to be cautionary of or cautious of. Now, that being said, let's get into the market a little bit here. Looking at the SPY right now, currently sitting at the pre-market high. Nice little grind up from pre-market open. Currently sitting around that 622.45 in the pre-market. What we're looking at here is the daily chart. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Now, I mentioned ideally, and I said this on Monday, that I would prefer to see the market do a slow grind down to back test that 613.23 area, that old all-time high. And we do have two areas of support underneath that, the 619.22 and 616.17. And I told you guys to add these lines on your chart because they're going to be very important this week in general. They're going to serve as areas of support and resistance. As you can see on the daily chart, on Monday, we went beneath that and closed above that. And then yesterday, we tapped it essentially with the low of the day being 619.52. So we didn't necessarily tap it. We got pretty close, but still closed above it. So today, we're starting to move back up. So what we could be seeing here is this was all the cool off that we were going to get. I wanted a little bit of a deeper retracement to backtest that old all-time high before going more bullish. But this might be all we get, which is fine. I'm fine with that. I'd rather have the market be more bullish than bearish. But the bears are going to have to push pretty hard or have some sort of catalyst basing on how these daily candles are looking, because you had momentum on Monday a little bit. Yesterday, you're showing a little bit more weakness for bear momentum. And now today, gapping back up over yesterday's high, or we're looking like we're going to open over yesterday's high. You might make one of these little parabola U shapes on the daily chart here. May take until Friday to break and push the new all-time high, but that could be what we're seeing here playing out on the daily chart on the market. Volume has been steady. It's been weird midday. For those of you that day trade, like I said, yesterday was a snore. We'll go look at the chart real quick for yesterday. We went really much of nowhere at all, about $1.50 in spread here in range. unless you're hitting the lows or hitting the highs, it was a hard day to trade specifically the SPY, the market, right? It was not a great day to trade the SPY yesterday. Today, thankfully, at least we're getting a direction, right? Up or down, I don't really care. I want a direction. It looks like we're getting a direction, at least as it stands right now. Now, 4 minutes into the open, so we'll do a quick little zoom around, see where things are sitting. Q's very similar movement to SPY on the pre-market. IWM as well, leading the pack once again, which is good to see. I want to see small caps continue their strength to the upside overall. If you're like Soundhound, keep an eye on this pre-market high, that 1346, and then also watch 1371 and that gap fill at 1399. As I said on Monday, and as I will say it again here, you guys got in right before, if you did get in, you do whatever you want. Before everyone on social media starts talking about this, I saw so many Soundhound posts, like literally last night, yesterday, into today. It's insane how many people are now talking about this, and it was very timely that we talked about it on Monday, and even last week, I believe, that this was a solid opportunity. So just keep an eye on this one today if you are long, and don't be greedy. Obviously, take profits when applicable. Looking at UVXY down in the pre-market, so good sign to go along with an upward market today. Seeing volatility so far grind to the downside while the market's pushing to the upside. That's more indicative of what we want to see in a normal bull market, right? Nvidia right now up near the open here, 161.05. Where's that all-time high? So this, if we open here, we make a new all-time high on Nvidia today, which would be pretty cool. Watch semiconductors today as a whole. It's looking like semis are probably going to have a pretty strong day today. So watch NVIDIA for, obviously, your leader of the pack here, and your SMH, that's an ETF that tracks semiconductors. Watch those two. It'll give you a good idea if semis have a lot of strength today or not. Microsoft, ironically, kind of bucking the trend here. Did gap up, push up in the pre-market, now moving a little lower. Google with the trend, with the market. Now, I mentioned, oh no, this is Apple. Apple, again, you guys know how I feel about Apple. I'm not very bullish on it. I just wouldn't touch it. Amazon, this is what I thought we were looking at. Look at this red candle. Decent down day yesterday. Those prime numbers came in. Like I said, this was a catalyst. You had a good technical setup here for a flat top breakout. However, you had to keep in mind the potential catalyst for that prime day sale. And those prime day results came in as mediocre. Looking like 15%, I believe, less than last year or something like that in terms of sales volume. So not a good look for Amazon for one of their big sales days that they literally created. And lastly, Tesla, pretty flat actually, interestingly enough. Guys, we have about a minute into the open. I'm going to ask you for one favor like I always do. Every stream I ask you 2 times. I'm going to ask you once now. If you haven't already, please drop a like, drop a comment, say hi, good morning. Good morning, Nigam. I see you. How you doing, brother? Type something in the chat. Follow me if you haven't. Subscribe over on YouTube if you haven't already. Any interaction greatly helps the channel, helps all my socials. I appreciate very much. I wouldn't ask for it because I find it annoying. However, I need to because it's the only way that this will grow even a little bit. So if I could have a little bit of your support, some little bit of time out of your day just to help interact with the stream, I appreciate it greatly. And by the way, once we get over to 500 subscribers on YouTube, this will be a daily show. So if you find value there, share it with your friends that are interested in finance. Make sure you go over there and subscribe. Thank you in advance. Okay, 30 seconds into the open, or before the open, I should say. SPY's pushing up here into right into open here. We got about 20 seconds here, and we're still making new highs in the pre-market on SPY, which is good look. Once we get a few minutes into the open here, we're going to look at the sectors, kind of get an idea of which sector is leading, what's lagging. Just want to obviously pay attention to the SPY here as we open. And keep in mind, stick around for later for that dumpster diving segment. I have a undervalued tech stock no one's looking at right now. You're going to want to know it. It's down 97% from the highs, and it's something that should be on your radar. Stay tuned for that. That's coming up in about 15 to 20 minutes. So you're going to want to be here for that. All right, market is open. SPY opening back at the pre-market highs right here, 622.82 right now, and trying to push out the gate. Good volume here as well. Let's look at the Qs. Tech moving up, big strong move here from the last 1 to 2 minutes of the pre-market, and nice opening candle here. IWM leaving a wick, so we'll come back to that momentarily. Obviously, anything can change here. We just stepped into the open. Let's keep an eye on SPY here just for a minute or two, and then, like I said, we'll go over our sector, see what sector is strong, what's weak, and kind of go from there. NVIDIA making new all-time highs right out the gate and continuing to make a new all-time high. You're probably squeezing some people who are short the all-time high on NVIDIA when it was first hit. So, some people open a short. You're probably going to squeeze some people. It's obviously a place where people look to short. So you're probably going to squeeze some of those people saying NVIDIA's overvalued and it's too expensive and blah, 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 which... it is overvalued, but it's also betting on the future and how much value does the future of AI have? It's hard to say. So this will continuously be some level of a short squeezer, in my opinion. As long as it's been north of that level. I told you guys, once it got north, whatever it was, 141.36, I was bullish on it. Once it's north 149.77, I'm very bullish on it. It's not a time to short NVIDIA. Like I said, you should see some strength come in through your semis today just because of how they were set up overnight and into the close yesterday, and watch NVIDIA to lead the pack here. Obviously, that'll be a good bull catalyst for the market today, with it being the largest company in the SPY or SPX. S&P 500, whatever you want to call it. Microsoft pretty flat here in the open. Google trying to push. Apple, nothing burger. Amazon, nothing burger. Tesla, nothing burger. All right, let's pop over to our sectors here in just a second here. I'll give one more minute here on the SPY and get an idea of where we might be going here. Good, really solid push here at the gate, especially, like I said, coming off those previous two daily candles that we saw on the SPY, both red candles, but we're showing, as we zoomed in here, we tested the support, closed above it, tested the support yesterday, closed above it. You're building that little parabola, that little U shape for a push to break all-time highs and keep going. We cooled off this strong rally, even though it was on lower volume, cooled off that rally. And again, I wanted a deeper cool off, but sometimes you don't get it and we might just push straight through. So watch. Keep that 626.28 level on high watch for today and tomorrow. I don't believe we'll make a new all-time high today. I could be wrong. I don't think that's in the cards for today. But if there were people who were trying to be late bears shorting the market yesterday, it could be possible. I'm not liking the little bit of weakness here that we're seeing on the IWM. You could see, again, we're talking about divergence. We talked about this yesterday on the program, where we see a divergence between big tech and small caps, and you might be seeing that play out right now, where you're seeing a little bit of weakness come into the Russell, where there's conversely decent strength coming into the Qs. Let's go and see if that's supported by our sector analysis. So let's pop over to all of our sectors and get an idea of what the market's looking like sector by sector. Utilities right now up a little bit here, right in the open, still pushing. Energy pretty flat, not really down a little bit, but nothing crazy. And staples down a little bit, but nothing crazy. Tech leading the pack right now. Let me double check. Yep, tech leading the pack right now, up 0.6%. Decent push here. Real estate pretty flat. Materials green 0.3. Industrials green 0.4. I know some of you listen in your pocket, so that's why I'm just saying it out loud, because you may not be watching right now visually. The XLV, so your healthcare up about 0.6. So healthcare and tech seem like they're leading the day right now. Your banks at 0.3, your financial sector, so a little iffy, but still good, positive. Consumer discretionary, remember Tesla, Amazon, 0.45, so pretty solid actually. And comm services only up 0.2, but overall looking like a pretty bullish day at the open. A lot of strength coming through tech right now, comparatively to everything else. Tech and health, big strength in tech and health on the open, even industrials too. Really nothing's like weak. Even staples are trying to move up right now, and energy. I mean, they're only marginally red. Energy is only marginally red 0.12, or 0.12%, and staples are only marginally red 0.21%. So this could be a day where we see all the sectors turn green, which would be fantastic. I would love that. I love when everything's green. It makes my life easier, makes your life easier, makes it easier to read the whole market. We love an easy day. SPY's rallying out the gate here. It's looking pretty good. T-Burn says, let's go T-Burn. Let's have a good day. Long, man. If you are long and you've been long, you're going to probably have a good day today. Assuming this holds up. We'll check volatility in just a minute here, because that's what I like to use as my barometer of how risk the day should be, or how risky I should be on the day, really. But so far, I mean, that Nvidia breaking a new all-time high was definitely a helping hand on the market here for sure. Microsoft just made a new all-time high. Google, such a laggard for the group. Apple also in the corner sniffing glue. Now, Amazon, this flat top breakout, technically, is it technically invalidated? Low, 219.6. Okay, technically it was invalidated. You didn't make a higher low off yesterday's candle. But I would still watch that 224.29. If that cracks, you might get a little bit of like a $4 follow through on Amazon. So if someone long Amazon right now, watch that localized high here, that 224.29, getting over that. High probability of getting like a $4 push on Amazon specifically. Tesla, looking like another doji candle here, at least so far on the day. Getting a little consolidating in here. Gaps basically both ways, so we'll see what happens with Tesla here longer term on the day. Market still sitting at highs here, 623.55 on the SPY right now. We are about $2.80 shy of a new all-time high on the market. Will that happen today? Like I said at the open, I don't think so, but I'm not going to be mad if it does. I'm going to be pretty happy. Not a single red candle on QQQ since the open. We're talking the 1 minute chart too. So it's been 7 green candles in a row on the Qs, just absolutely squeezing to the upside right now. The all-time high on the Qs, 557.20. You were only $1.27. Sorry, that was very specific. I didn't even mean to say that. $1.20 roughly off of the new all-time high for that tech sector, your QQQ NASDAQ sector. So keep an eye on that. Nvidia might see a little profit taking here near term. Watch a back test of around 162.97, 163 if you're day trading that. Look for a bounce there. If you get a fail on a bounce there, you might pull a little bit deeper to the 162s. I'm not shorting it. I'm just letting you know if you're long what to look for. Microsoft is continuing to grind here. A little bit of a rejection there. Could be some profit taking. Google flat, Amazon flat. A lot going on this morning. A lot of moving pieces. A lot of moving pieces here. I think your catalyst for if the SPY makes a new all-time high today, what you want to look for is if the Qs breaks that all-time high. I know it seems kind of obvious, but that's going to give you a good indication of momentum as well. And that's also going to give you a good indication of sentiment. The daily charts on these two are similar. They're not the same, but they're very similar. And you're seeing a similar move here on the Qs where I have this LOI at 552.80 and basically closed on it. Not really on it, a little bit beneath it the last 2 days, but notice those wicks you left and we closed higher, or at least the wicks didn't test as low the last yesterday as to the previous day, or as it did the previous day. And now you're getting a nice little push to the upside here. So there's definitely an opportunity here. There you go. IWM made a new high a day. So now we're seeing my favorite setup. This is my favorite bull setup. That's possible. Wait, let me just triple check. Okay, I don't know why my VIX doesn't update till like 9:45. I got to look into that. But UVXY is moving down. So this is the ultimate. This is the quadfecta. It's not a trifecta because there's 4, but this is the quadfecta. You have SPY making highs, pushing to the upside. Qs making highs, pushing to the upside. IWM just made a new high. It's a little shakier, but we're still trending bullish. Volatility moving down. If you are short today, it better be a very short-term trade. You have volatility decaying. You have all 3 indexes not diverging. They're all moving the same way. So this is a full risk-on bull environment on the day, meaning today only. For right now. Don't read too deep in that. That's as of this minute right now. This is a risk-on market. You want to be very risk-on. You want to size up in this environment, barring any news catalyst. Like I said, we did have the whole today is the original tariff day thing, so something could happen with that. But really, we don't really have any news catalyst today. We just have Trump talking at 12:05 with African leaders, which he could say something. Who knows? And then you have FOMC meeting minutes, which I already shared my thoughts on that a little bit earlier today, but this is looking really solid. I think if you're someone who's looking at this as a powder keg like I am at the moment, your spark, your ignition for this powder keg is breaking the Qs. That high, that 557.20. You break that 557.20, you're more than likely now. Like I said, right at the start, I didn't think it was going to happen, but I think you would break a new all-time high on the SPY as well. But we need to see that Q all-time high break, and you also need to see volatility, which there we go. All right, now VIX is updated. So we have 1606 on the VIX. Hold on. There we go. So that is, let's see. It's like a 6-month low here on the VIX. It's pretty solid. But I actually don't even have levels down here. 1457. So basically to 15. You got about $1 lower on the VIX, which I guess not technically $1, but you know what I mean. Looking like we could move a buck lower on the VIX here down to around like 15, high 14s on the VIX. And UVXY is also supporting that theory. Remember, UVXY gets a little bit of a longer term outlook on volatility. So far, so good. Everything's leaning in the right direction. And this just in, it is official. NVIDIA becomes the first company to reach a $4 trillion market cap. It is official. It has finally happened. It is now a $4 trillion company, making that new all-time high right at 164 on the nose for NVIDIA. Incredible. Largest company in the world. Hot on its heels, though, to be fair, Microsoft. I mean, it's only 2.3 trillion, but Microsoft is also making a new all-time high here and pushing pretty solid. Google's trying to turn it around. Wait, did I misspeak? Hold on, I might have misspoke. Sorry, I did misspeak. Microsoft is a $3.74 trillion company, so it is hot on their heels. I read the wrong number. My apologies. Google's trying to push up here as well. Man, Apple. If Apple could participate in this rally, we could have a crazy day. It just sucks so much. Amazon's not bad either. Recovering off of that red day yesterday, backtesting the 8 EMA, holding it on the daily here, so you're going to want to keep an eye on that. Tesla, super indecisive. SPY is up at 624. We're getting very, very close to hitting a new all-time high on the market today, guys. We are very close. The Qs are very close for making a new all-time high. Only about 70 cents off on the Qs. Okay, we talked about this level specifically on IWM. Do you remember, if you've been watching the show? 223.32. Today might be a super powder keg, actually, now that we have all these things lined up. If the Qs make a new all-time high, if IWM can somehow break that 223.32 and SPY makes a new all-time high with volatility decaying, we might have a blowout rally, because all of these are very key levels. Obviously, a psychological level making a new all-time high for the Qs and SPY. But I told you guys that the one thing I was really looking for originally was this break, the back test, and now if we break that 223.32 on IWM, that being a trigger that the market would basically have a very hard rally. And it's in earshot today. It's realistic. It's 50 cents off. So today could be one of those crazy days on the market. If everyone participates, if all of these things go according to hand, if the Qs can make that new all-time high, if IWM can get 70 more cents here, strong possibility that SPY makes a new all-time high. I hate talking so overtly bullish because people buy in like now and they think, oh, now's the time to go long. I'm already long the market different ways, okay? I'm making money on this no matter what. You clearly see I'm not trading right now. I'm just talking to you guys, right? Because I'm trying to help you guide your decision making. Do not be FOMOing into things right now. It's not the time. I know it's exciting. You sense the excitement in my voice even. But that's not the time I trade. I trade when I'm calm. I'm not going to trade right now when I'm like hype, right? I'm going to take profit on things. That I will do. But I'm not going to get myself too jazzed up here that I'm going to make some reckless decisions. That's not going to happen. Just watch, be patient, and see if the plan comes to fruition. And I'm sure a lot of you are long equity where you'd make a lot of money today as well. So enjoy those gains. Make the gains when they come. They will come. If you're not long anything, you know, it sucks to suck. And if you're short the market, this is why you don't... Shorting is very different than being long the market. You always want to be a very, very careful short in general. Whenever you're taking short, be careful. Don't be reckless when you're shorting. Wow, are we going to do it? Are we going to do it? 50 cents off on IWM here. I'm sorry, on QQQ. Nvidia still pushing another new all-time high, almost to 160. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. Almost 165. It's 164.24 right now. Microsoft new all-time high. I feel like I'm going to continuously say that all day today. Nvidia becomes the first company to reach a $4 trillion market cap. Nvidia first passed the $2 trillion mark back in February 2024 and passed the $3 trillion mark in June. Now $4 trillion in early July. It's incredible. Oh boy, here we go. Step one. Q's making the new all-time high. We are 30 cents away. 20 cents away. Man, today might be one of those fun days. Those are the days where, like, I may not even make a trade, like a day trade or a swing trade or whatever, but I have all my long trades set up and I can just watch them and they just make money. And those are the best kind of days because I can just sit back and be like, oh, this is fun. I'm just making money sitting here and everything's great in the world. Those are the best kind of days. So hopefully you guys are going to have one of those kinds of days as well. Qs are very, very close here. Now, if you wanted to be the contrarian, looking for the short, obviously, at 557.20. Could take a short on the Qs. You're more than likely going to tap that 557.20 area, maybe even a little shy of it, like right here, 557.07, and get some level of a retracement, probably down 50 cents or so. So you could do a scalp there, but I would not overstay that welcome. Like, someone might be going short now-ish. Someone like me, I would take a short now if I was to short. That's a suicide mission, though, right now. If we do get a little higher, if we tap 557.20 on the nose, here's what I'll do. I will short the Qs. I'll be that ballsy. I'll be that crazy. We're going to watch the 556 puts, 0 day. Low a day on these contracts, 75 cents. I'm not looking for much. It would only have to come down like 50 cents or so. But also, you're standing in front of a freight train. So, if you can't take this kind of risk, do not take this kind of trade. Just saying that straight up. All right, I'm going to get in now, actually. All right, I'm short the Qs at 78 cents. And again, looking for 556.54 to 556.37. Not much, 10, 20, 30%, depending on how quickly we go, or if there's a deeper pull. But looking for just a little bit here, shorting the all-time high. That's something I'm willing to do. I do think it's going to break today for what it's worth, but my risk reward here is pretty tight. These contracts really shouldn't go lower than like 0.7. And I'm aiming to make at least over like 0.85 on an exit. So I basically have a 1-to-1 risk here where I can make, theoretically, $7 a contract or lose $7 a contract. At least that's what I'm pricing in here. So that's kind of what I'm taking a stab at here. 10 cents away from all-time highs. Very, very close. I'm the crazy guy who's shorting the hottest sector of the day as it's near all-time high. Yep, that's me. It's the meme. You might be wondering how I got here. I'm doing it. 4 cents away. I'm going to cut this if we make new all-time highs, which is getting close. All right, technically we hit it there. Like I said, I'm giving it to 0.7, so that is a new all-time high in the Qs, though. Officially. I'll exit these if we get around like a 0.7. Right now at about a 0.73. Still pushing. It's looking solid. It's also looking tired. That was looking like a solid push, but it also doesn't look like there's a lot of oomph. I do think it needs to pull back right around here-ish. All right, so technically we did break my risk, which was making a new all-time high in the Qs, but I said I wanted to give myself to those contracts being about 0.7. Now they're 0.76. The lowest I think I got was 0.73. I entered at 0.78, so really only farting around a few bucks here. Your POC is right here as well. If this engulfs this candle, we are going to get a retracement. I'm very certain of that. This is also a hot move. It really should cool before we just have like a all-out rally for the rest of the day. But again, like I said at the beginning, you don't want to be short this market unless you're trading intraday. You're doing something short. Like my time frame on this trade is short. I'm looking not for the moon here. I'm looking literally low 556. Not much. Just a little bit of cool off. If I get more than that, then it could go down like another buck or two, and I'd actually go in the money. So at that point, I'd take my first profit and put a tight stop on and then see where it goes kind of thing. That's going to be how this game plan is going to work out. So to be clear, once we hit roughly my price target here of like low 556-ish, I'd trim out and then put a stop loss at break even and see where the rest of them go essentially. And that would be how I'd play this short side trade. Another bear candle here. MACD's starting to curl over here. Volume's not fantastic though. Again, being honest with myself, bears aren't really showing a ton of strength here. If we don't push it in the next minute, because these are 1 minute candles, I'll probably just close out for whatever it is. It'll be like a break even. But I got to go in the next like minute. That was a good bear candle. That was a good one. Let's see. Here's the follow through. All right, 4% there. Nothing crazy yet. Now if we leave a wick behind, that's going to be good for the bulls. So let's see what happens. Building so this is actually really good if you're a longer term bull in the day. Your POC is moved up here, so you're building a lot of volume up here basically at the all-time high. So there's a lot of liquidity here. There's people interested at this price. Again, I'm just of the thought process that we cool a little bit more before getting a sustained rally to the upside. A little bit of a doji candle here. Oh. Watch this low to break that it made on this 1 minute candle. Still flat on these, and these are 0 days, so I need to be very tight with my risk here. If this previous low in this candle can't break, then I'm going to close these out here pretty soon just for risk. Again, pretty flat in this position. I opened them at 78 cents. They're sitting at 77. It's just a moot point. It needs to go. If it doesn't break this low, then I'm out. But it's looking like the bulls are going to hold it together. It's looking like it. All right, I'm going to close these out for a scratch. Bulls are looking strong. I think I technically exited at, let me see. All right, I exited some at 0.77 and some at 0.76. So I lost a penny. A penny to a penny and a half, but it was okay risk to reward. Did get a little bit of a bear retracement, but as I said, we didn't get that follow through there on this candle. We didn't break that low, and now we might push the high. And this is why I always say, especially on this program, you don't lie to yourself. I said at the beginning, you don't want to be short this market. If you do, take an intraday short. Like I just did, short quick, have a defined risk. Now if this breaks here, you're going to see why I closed out my trade as a scratch. If this breaks to the upside here, you're going to see a push, a hard push to the upside, and I do not want to be short a market that's moving like that. That is insanity. I'm already crazy enough for taking a short. That was already a little nutty on my part. And I like to be a contrarian. It's funner? Is that a word? It's more fun being the contrarian than always going with the crowd here. All right, I'm not going to be tempted to do that again. Oh, I might have been right. May have I been right? I cannot talk today. Now, I will say this. If we do backtest this area here, this like 556, like I said, 556.30s is where that short, I was looking to take profit on that short. If we do backtest the area and then kind of hover around there, then I'd look for longs on the day on the Qs for what it's worth. So if you like that idea, stick that in the back of your head. We are going to roll into our dumpster dive segment here in a minute. But real quick, guys, if you're in the chat, let's see. Do you have any guesses? I'm going to go ahead and guess you don't, because this is not a company many people know of. Now, I'll give you 2 hints, and you can take your guess in the chat. 3 hints. It's a tech company. It's a $400 million market cap, and it's down 97% from its high. Feel free to drop a guess in the chat of what that company could be. And then in a moment here, we'll roll into our dumpster dive segment. Yeah, I'm wild for doing a short. I'm a madman. NVIDIA kind of just hugging that 164 area today, looking like it's going to be a little bit of a battleground. Microsoft just chugging along, up about 9 points on the day. Google getting a little bit of momentum now. It's good to see. Like, if Apple could just participate, like, what is this? What is nothing? Please don't be NKLA. Oh man, that is a. It's been a while since I've heard that name, Nikola. That was the warrants. Let's see if it's even. It got delisted, didn't it? Yeah, it's OTC now. That's the one. $5 million market cap for Nikola. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Remember this one? What a woof, woof! Look at that. Those splits. $2,800. Woof. Big woof. Gnarly. Gnarly, gnarly, gnarly. All right, I want to give it 1 or 2 more minutes here before we pop into our dumpster dive segment. See, even if we do hit my price target here, that was not good risk to reward on a 0 day because we weren't moving quick enough, right? There was higher volatility. We weren't going to get there quick enough. And at this point, I bet you those contracts are still roughly the same. Yeah, 0.77. It's right around my entry. Albeit now that we're a tiny bit lower, they should be worth a little bit more. This is looking like a cool down off of this pretty solid rally at the open here. In fact, you started to learn how to trade with Nikola. God bless your soul. Oh, God bless. Hopefully you made it out alive. What I will do, here, we'll look at this. I'm looking at the 560 calls for tomorrow on the Qs. Delta 26. So for every dollar, we're going to make roughly 30% on these with a 7-cent gamma. I like to look at things very conservatively when I'm calculating gains, so I like to just look at the delta and assume I'm only getting the delta, because then everything else is gravy. 560s. All right. I'm going to grab some of the 560s for tomorrow on the Qs. I got some at 85. That way we can keep that active and go about our business. I can do my segment and go from there. Oh, okay, or we can just melt up. Or we can just push right out the gate the second I get in. Those are my favorite kind of trades. I'm not mad at that. We don't have to be too salty at that, do we? That's okay. See, this is another look at the volume here too. Great volume, new all-time high on the Qs. This is what I mean by like not lying to yourself. I knew that short trade. I knew I shouldn't be short the market. And if I am to be very short-term short the market, and when it wasn't working out for me right away, I was looking, as you saw in real time, for the bull opportunity to get in. Now I'm in. Now I even have about 11% up here. If we break another high here, then I'm gonna take a trim, and I'll probably slap a stop on it so I can do my segment with you guys, and then you can do as you will. With that. Yeah, currently trading for about 90, well, it's fluctuating obviously, but around 95 cents. That makes it about 11% gain off my entry. So we'll watch this for another minute or two or so. We'll roll into the dumpster dive segment, and then I'll leave you with some market outlooks for the rest of the day, and we'll be good to go. Another great day here on the Atomcash angle. Let's look for that high break, and we can go about our business. MACD's starting to flip here. That was a good candle there on higher volume. I actually want to take a peek, see where NVIDIA's at. Still hugging that 164. A lot of strength in Microsoft today. So Microsoft and NVIDIA are your beasts on the day. NVIDIA up 2.5%. Microsoft up a solid 2%. Google showing strength now, 2%. It was a little rocky there at the start, but Google's actually moving up. Apple turned green. What is happening? Amazon up 2%. Watch that 224.29 on Amazon. That is going to be so important today. If we backtest, if we reject that and build a base, I might go long Amazon as well. All right, here's your new high on the Qs. So as stated, I'm going to take a trim here for 13%. And again, these are for tomorrow, mind you, so we have the flexibility of time on our side. I don't love these wicks here. If we can get a candle literally right now in this 1 minute candle to break through, that'd be even better. But we still made a solid 12, 13%, depending on where you got your exit here. If we can push that there, again, you got a delta, what was it, 22? Now a delta 31. And again, I like to look at things from more of a conservative lens. So let's say delta 30. If we can get a $1 push here on that, you're getting at least like a 40% gain on those call options. So pretty solid risk to reward. And we're not including Vega. We're not including Gamma. We're just looking at solely the delta. That's pretty solid. And we're making the assumption that delta is not going to appreciate, which is how I like to, if I'm long options, I like to look at it that way because it makes it way more conservative. I know it's kind of silly and people might think that's dumb. I like doing that because it sets my expectations much lower. And then I'd rather be surprised than have my expectations up here and be underwhelmed. That's just me though. Anyway, I guess we'll pop back to this. I'll do my segment. We'll do it blindfolded. If you're in a smaller account, maybe consider a stop loss at break even just to protect yourself in case there is some sort of down candle. Maybe I'll just close it out. Yeah, you know what I'll do? I'll lower my size. So if you're in a small account, maybe take the gains. I'll just lower size. That way I still have exposure. Sorry if you heard me click-clacking. I was typing that to our Discord community. Again, still bullish on the day overall. We broke one of our goalposts here. The Q's making that new high. IWM did not crack that 223.32. And that's basically the next thing you want to look for here. The 223.32, and then VIX. Like I said, if it can stay under 16, we're more than likely going to pull all the way to like the high 14s. So everything is set up very powder keggy. So I do want exposure on the market somehow. It just got to make sense. So reduced my risk on this, so my size is lower on these. I still think these have actually a good chance of going in the money. That's why I picked the 560s. But I don't want to be foolish because I'm not going to be watching it right now because I'm about to tell you guys about the dumpster dive stock. Now, before I do, I'm going to ask you guys one favor. If you haven't already, do me a quick favor. Like the stream wherever you are. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed over on YouTube. Follow me on X if you're on X. Do whatever you can. Say hi. I'll say hi back. But interact with the stream in any way that you can. It helps me greatly. It's the one thing I'm going to ask for you guys. I keep doing these shows for free. I'm not looking for your money. What I'm looking for is your sweet interaction. That's what the algorithm cares about, and that's all I want from you guys. So if you can, do me that quick favor. That's really all I want for this. Drop a quick like, a subscription, a follow, whatever. I greatly appreciate it, especially if you're enjoying the program and especially if you want to see more of it. That lets me know that you guys are engaged, that you're interested, and I will be more than happy to keep doing this. And I will remind you, once we hit 500 subscribers over on YouTube, this will be a daily show. Every single morning, for the most part, I will do this show. So if you enjoy the show and if you want to see the show grow and you want more content, that's all I'm asking for. 500 subscribers on YouTube, and we make that happen. Currently, I believe I'm at 81. And for the record, started out, we're up 100% on my subscriber base. So thank you guys for supporting me. In the last 30 days, 28 days, we're up 100%. So doing nice numbers here on YouTube. It's a slow, arduous grind, but I appreciate the support that you guys are giving me for the program. Now, the dumpster dive segment. The segment you're all been waiting for, the segment in which you can find a gem in the rough. Because I've done all the dirty work for you. I've looked high and low. I've dug around in the trash of the stock market, and I have found a tech gem. A gem that I would consider a gem, mainly because of the fact that, well, no one else is. And that might be, in itself, worth a lot of money. Now, what say you? What if I brought you a company that was a $400 million market cap? I brought you a company that used to be a triple-digit company, now trading in the single digits, off 97% of their high, and they're actually doing better than they were back then. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? And that's what I found for you guys. So I'm going to record this just so everyone has it if you want to refer back to it, because I have a nice little write-up I did. I got levels marked out. We got the whole kit and caboodle ready for you guys. So we're going to make that happen right now. So give me 1 second. I'm going to set this up and we will roll right into it. Also, if I sound funny, it's because I'm doing this as a recording, almost like it's a video. So I'll be talking as if it's a video, which some of you have been here before, some of you haven't. That's why it's like this. Welcome to the Dumpster Dive segment. In this segment of the show, I find one strictly undervalued stock in the stock market that I think has a lot of value. I'm looking for everyone else's trash and possibly to provide you some treasure. And that's what I'm bringing you here with the Dumpster Dive. Now, this is a company that is a tech company and a fairly decent sized tech company, $400 million tech company that is 97% off of all-time highs. This was a tech company that was trading in the triple digits. And now it is only in the single digits. And interestingly enough, they're doing better now than they have been. So is this company a company you should consider? Well, let's find out. That company's name is Big Commerce, ticker symbol BIGC. That's BIGC, Big Commerce. Now, for those of you that don't know Big Commerce, it is a company that runs an e-commerce platform for businesses. So think of it like a Shopify, very similar to Shopify, but with their API first. So they have an open SaaS model, right? So this gives a lot of flexibility to a lot of businesses. Now, what I've done for you guys is I've compiled a bunch of information, some from the fundamental side and some from the technical side, to kind of give you a full game plan on if this is a company you should consider that may be a good fit for you. Now, full transparency, before I get into it, I have no position in Big Commerce. I have no shares, no nothing, no options. However, I do plan on opening a position in the near future, but prior to making this video, I currently have no position in Big Commerce. Now, with that being said, Big Commerce currently is trading around $5.18, has a market cap of roughly around $400 million, and to be fair, it is still an unprofitable company at this point in time. However, margins are improving and so is their cash flow over time, which we'll get into in a little bit. Now, comparing this company to its peers, it has a PS ratio that's under 1.3. So if we're looking at comparing it to like a Shopify, which again is the giant here, but it's the most like comparable business we have to this kind of business, Shopify is up into the 9-11x range. So strictly undervalued just from a PS ratio. Now, this is just one thing you could use to drive a valuation for a business, but very intriguing in itself to at least look at it from that point of view. Now, in general, and obviously because this is 97% off the high, it is heavily discounted relative to its historical revenue growth and its current potential. So, like I said, over time, this company has actually been getting better, but the market is still consistently just punching it in the face over and over and over. So think of it as it being priced in that it's a company in distress, like the sky is falling, so to speak. And this current evaluation, I believe, implies that there are very, very small, limited expectations on this company for the overall market. The hedge funds, everyone else out there, they're not expecting much out of this company, and they've priced it in as such. So, if anything, this leaves this company with an asymmetrical upside if they can actually execute. So, if they can actually... Well, I say if they can actually, which kind of sounds negative, but if they do, in fact, execute successfully, then a company like this has a very asymmetrical move to the upside because it's been beat down and basically hated as if it's not going to be, right? And that's what's really interesting about this, or I guess really what's interesting from a point of opportunity with this kind of company. Now, if we're going to go over the technicals real quick, let's just take a quick peek into Big C, and this is the daily chart here. Basically building some level of a base for the last like 2 to 3 months here. Decently rangy though, for all things considered. That all-time low is $4.73. Like I said, currently trading around $5.18, and the top of that range roughly around like the mid fives. So you got about like a dollar range that it's been bouncing around here, which for a company this size is actually a decently big range considering it's about 20% of its value. Pretty big range. But looking at it from here, it is building some level of a base relative to its prior price action. Let's zoom in on the week here, where it would build these bases, so to speak, and break down and build a base and break down and build a base and break up, so on and so forth. And it's at this point where it's building another base. Now, the one thing that remains consistent about looking at this company in general is it cannot, for some reason, get over the 50 or the 200 MA to save its life on the daily. It will get periods of time. So this is a daily chart. It gets periods of time. Dark blue line on my chart's at 200. The purple line is the 50. Where it can get over it, but it doesn't sustain. And you don't believe me, look at your chart right now. It cannot. This is basically the only example in which it had like a short window of time where it could have worked out and just failed. Back down again. Rejection specifically on the 200 MA on the daily over and over. Short break again here and another attempt here. Shut down again. And now it's been beaten into the dirt pretty bad, in my opinion. So, from a technical perspective, is it the most glorious play? Maybe not. However, I do like how it's starting to curl up here on the daily. You got a green MACD, and the weekly MACD is also turning up here with a red SAR coming down. So, there is some short-term opportunity to actually reverse here to the upside. Not to mention your monthly SAR, which has never gone green, ever, in the history of this company. Going back 5 years, the monthly SAR has never gone green. If you don't know what the SAR is, stop and reverse indicator. Basically plays on the parabolic nature of the stock market. It's one of my favorite indicators. That SAR number on the month right now is a little high. It's at 6.6, but it has never broken. And if that breaks, I am almost certain on that indicator alone that you're going to get a solid move to the upside on this name. And also with where it's currently sitting, if you were only risk all-time lows, you're only risking a downside of about 40 cents or so. So about like a 10% drop from here. 10, 12%. So your downside risk is pretty minimal considering the potential upside on equity. We're not talking about options. We're talking strictly about equity here. Now, keep in mind also, you might think, well, a company like this being in the dirt might be highly shorted. Well, kind of. Now, what I determine as high short interest is around 10%, anything above 10%, I should say. It's pretty high short interest. This company roughly has about 8.5 short interest. So not strong enough for like a squeeze, like a short squeeze candidate. But with its float and with its market cap size, it could obviously add some bullish momentum if there was a short squeeze in the sense that some shorts start to close out. With it being known, the days to cover on this stock is roughly around 5 days. So if those shorts were to close, we have about 5 days of upside, or take them 5 days to close out their position. But what I find most interesting, and where a lot of people look at a company and they go, oh, this company's heavily shorted, it must be a short squeeze. No, don't look at companies like that. When a company's heavily shorted, you need to look at it from the lens of there might be a reason why it's heavily shorted. Could be, right? I should at least look deeper into this. What I like about this the most is this company was shorted even heavier in recent weeks, and that's actually been declining. So I actually like that because that's telling me shorts are leaving. Now, we're not getting a short rally, right? We're not getting a short squeeze, but I don't care about that. That's showing that there's more confidence in this name, or at least at this price, or shorts have made their money. They're looking at it and going, yeah, it's $4, it's $5. I've shorted it from 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever price. I can walk here, right? My risk to reward, I can only go into bankruptcy with this company and go to zero, right? So what's my upside here as a short? And I'm paying margin, right? Or interest rate to borrow the stock to short it. So seeing them start to close out is an indication to me that the risk to reward is actually flipping to the bull side. And with the remaining 8% of bears that are still in there, or 8% of the people who are short the float, that still gives you fuel to an upside rally, which is still a bullish thing in nature. Now, I'm specifically looking, I wouldn't get too excited on this name until it starts to break above 565, but that doesn't mean that I don't want to build a position down here. Now, it's got some support resistance areas right around here at 522 and 505, and obviously, again, risking that all-time low at 473. So if you did like this idea on this name, again, even getting in between these two support resistance zones, you're only risking 40, 50 cents here of downside, which, arguably roughly 10% depending on your entry, when you got a gap all the way up here at 130. Now, I'm not saying it's happening right away. Don't shoot the messenger here, but we're going to walk through why I think there could be eventually a move in that direction. So let's get back into what I got jotted up here, and let's look into the fundamentals in general. So in general, the 2024 revenue for this company has increased about 7 to 8% year over year. They've got $333 million in 2024 revenue. The gross margins are roughly around 75%. It's pretty decent for a SaaS business. It shows decent pricing power, right? What I like most about that, so the margins are decent. They're making money. They haven't turned a profit yet, but their operating losses are actually shrinking about 58% year over year. So that's showing that the road to profitability, we're getting there. The losses are shrinking. The margins are solid. So it's getting there, but it's gradual. It's going to take a little bit of time. On top of that, their growth strategy, which has actually been pretty solid, they're expanding their business-to-business functionality. Their international reach is pretty good, and they're starting to get more larger enterprise clients, which is obviously great for their business, more steady income for them. So it's starting to become more of a steady business. When people first looked at this business back probably in 2020, it was $100 a share. It was COVID time. Shopify is obviously hot because everyone's at home making a business and stuff, and they probably didn't have as clean of a business model. Now you've got a steady SaaS business, in my opinion, with decent margins and a decent roadmap to profitability. Their losses are shrinking, their margins are improving. And I don't think the market's priced that in just yet at this level specifically. The market also hasn't priced in rate cuts. So, I mean, yes, it has, but specific to this company doesn't make any money yet. If there are rate cuts in general, that's only going to be a bullish catalyst for this company because it's going to be cheaper for them to borrow money. They can refinance any loans that they have and be able to borrow more money to grow, right? And borrow at a cheaper rate, which makes it easier for them to be a more successful company longer term and get to that profitability even quicker because they're paying less in interest, whether they refinance or they need new loans at a lower interest rate than they currently are. So it's only a bull catalyst, and everyone's come to the mindset now that we've accepted that we're more than likely going to start cutting rates in the near future here. So I believe that this company is basically an underfollowed company. It's unloved. It's a tech stock, and I see no one talking about it really. I think with a little bit of a spark, you got kind of a powder keg here. A surprise earnings beat, improved guidance, some sort of deal with someone of nature, of some sort of name. This thing goes like that. I think it will become a darling of people eventually. And I think if you like a name like this, again, the risk to reward, just talking from a solid dollars and cents point of view, even if you're only risking that all-time low and you're patient, again, equity, not options, you could be sitting on a very, very, very nice opportunity here. This could even get bought out by Shopify, realistically. It's only a $400 million company, and they're focused more on B2B kind of e-commerce solutions and SaaS business, where Shopify is more of like building, I mean, they do B2B also, but they more of target B2C businesses, like people who want to set up a business to sell to customers. So they might look at this company and look at it as a way to not only take out their competitor, but also get exposure to an area in which maybe they're not exposed to. So eventually this could even be a buyout. Even at even at a $1 billion valuation, you're still talking about 100% increase on your money at this price, with at least being worth $10 and change, with a 400 million market cap right here at 515. Now, obviously, we got to talk about some of the risks here. They're not making money yet. I said that before. That is obviously a risk factor here, and money to borrow right now is expensive. So keep that in the back of your mind. There's decent competition. You've got Shopify, WooCommerce, and Adobe Commerce. There's other options out there in general. But what I will say as a contradictory point to that point is that the market share for this industry, in my opinion, is very large. And there's a lot of room for people to eat at this table. And I don't doubt that this company could take a bigger bite out of that market share in general. The other thing you want to keep in mind is a risk factor, and you see the same argument with Shopify, is that e-commerce is out of favor post-pandemic. It was really hot during the pandemic because no one could leave their house and all this stuff. I would argue that point isn't valid, but some people will make that argument, and I'll argue that isn't valid because if you look at Amazon, it's not valid. And what I mean by that is people are shopping online more than they're shopping in store. I think that trend will continue, and if you're of the belief that trend will continue, then more than likely you'll be more bullish on this company than bearish from that point of view. If you're of the belief that the e-commerce sector has fallen out of grace in general, or it's in a strong consolidating phase, then that would be a risk factor for you to continue. I would summarize that this company is a solid turnaround play and a contrarian play, really, for a good patient investor. It is not going to be a quick play by any means. Now, unless something happens tomorrow and there's hot news and whatever, it takes off. Like I said, it's a powder keg, but a powder keg will just sit there until there's a spark, right? So you need some level of spark. You need something to excite it. And it's not there just yet. So it could float around down here for a bit, but if you're patient on equity, I think this is a name you're going to come back to one day and come back to this clip, and I'll probably gloat about it on social media if it happens and say, hey, remember when I told you about Big Commerce at $5? Well, now it's at, and you'd be very happy. And even if, like I said, even if it does tap that the new all-time low and it makes $4.70, are you really losing much money? Haven't you lost money on dumber names with worse risk to reward? This risk to reward on this name is really, really solid in my opinion. Now, I will say Big Commerce may not be sexy right now. But it's exactly why it's interesting to me, and why stocks that I bring up on this dumpster dive segment are really interesting to me. And these are the kind of companies I look for, the ones that aren't interesting. Because by the time that they are interesting, the price is already appreciated, and it will continue to appreciate, and you've got a fantastic entry. And that's why I love companies just like this. So if you believe in a quality SaaS model business, like that's something that you're looking for exposure in your portfolio, decent, pretty deep gross margins, and decent growth over time, this could be one of those quiet outperformers for the next year or so, where it starts to slowly reverse course and then people catch on and it goes. So like I said, this will be a grind, I think, but I do believe this will be a solid opportunity. Now, we'll look over some of these levels real quick and I'll let you guys go. And again, I wouldn't get too excited on this name until you're cracking over that 565 and 575 area. Also keep in mind that 200 MA, as I alluded to before, that is a hard level for it to break. And I also said the 50 was hard on the daily as well. Mind you, it has broken the 50 MA here the last 2 days. So it could be the start to something new. You also have earnings coming up on the 31st, so just be aware of that. But past that level here, I've got a ton of support and resistance areas I will read out for you guys, and you can add them to your chart if you so please. $6.01, $6.81, $7.50, $8.60. Let's zoom out here and make this a little easier, because I go all the way up. 10.19, 12.71, 17.27, an unfilled gap at 22.76 to 24.36, 42.17, 63.54, and then another unfilled gap, believe it or not, at $121.31. Now, I didn't get too anal in here with take profit levels and stuff, so I'll go back and rechart this, and maybe I'll make a part 2 on this video if it ever gets up over like 25 bucks. And I'll get more specific levels in here, but I found it very interesting that we have a daily gap left on this name from all the way from the beginning when it IPO'd. Right there. So, will it get back to $121 one day? Who knows? But that's for you to find out if you like this name. And so again, that name is Big Commerce. BIGC is the ticker. And hopefully you enjoyed the dumpster dive. And if you do and you want to see more content like this, do me a favor, drop a like, a comment, and subscribe down below. Thanks. All right, guys, what do we think about Big Commerce? The Big C. What do we think, guys? Do you like the analysis? Based on everything I said, would you be more bullish or bearish on Big C? I love finding names like this that offer an attractive entry, I should say. Where, like I said, I'm risking 10% downside. But even if I got to $50, I make 1,000% on my money. Like that in my mind is just like, okay, risking 10% downside, and if I'm patient and it hits $50, now I've made 1,000% on equity. Right? Like, is that not interesting? That's interesting to me. I'm not saying it's going to go there necessarily, but it's just the point of the opportunity is there. Hell, even if it's $10, right? You still made 100% return. This is a name that, I don't have exposure in yet, but I'm looking to add as soon as today, honestly. I think this will be a name that I will keep you guys updated on. Neegum says, love it, and we'll add a few. Right on, man. Happy that helps. How's my Qs working out? Kind of farting around. We actually might get a rally right into the end of the show here. Interesting. Keep an eye on that. SPY similar chart. Yeah, IWM's now weak. If the Russell can turn it around, then we're gonna move here. You're tapping the 200 MA here on the 1 minute though, so keep an eye on that. Oh no, Soundhound is down 0.3%. Damn. After, what was it, 15% rally yesterday? Whatever it was. It's okay. You can take a little breather. It's the meme of Patrick petting the rock and go, it's okay, buddy. You go when you're ready. That's what we're seeing here. Volatility pretty flat. VVIX pretty flat. Nvidia looking like it's ready for another leg here. If it can break 164 again, you might get another new high on Nvidia. Yeah, it's looking like we're cooling down off that little tech rally, except for Google. Google is really shocking me today, honestly. It was not looking good out the gate, and now it's actually looking pretty solid. At the 50% retracement from that recent high to that recent low. Will Apple do anything today? That is yet to be seen. Oh, wow, did it reject right to it? Huh, is that to the penny? That's to the penny. Amazon's high today rejected to the penny. 224.29. That localized high to the freaking penny. That's the same exact high as 2 days ago. To the penny. So I said if that breaks, it will go. Before that, it's not going to go any higher. Well, that sounds really dumb now I say it out loud. It's not going to go. No, obviously it wouldn't go higher, but you get my point. That's where I look for momentum to take off. Ooh, Tesla getting a little bearish here. The bears came out to play on Tesla. Watch, what is this? 291.85 for an area of support here. About $2-3 to the downside. My Big C, $5.12 right now. What's that 1 minute look like? Also, this is not a very liquid company right now, obviously. So I would highly recommend or highly suggest you use a limit order just in case. Look at your bid ask. It tends to be pretty tight. Like right now, it's a penny spread, so you'll be fine if you did a market order. But keep an eye on this. If it taps 505 today, I will more than likely be adding it. I will more than likely be adding it as soon as the show is over as well, for what it's worth. Okay, looking like the Bears came out to play a little bit. Did we get any news? Let me just double check before I let you guys go. Man, really? I ended the dumpster dive segment and everyone left. I lost half my viewers. God. You guys aren't even going to let me know how you feel. You're just going to go, well, thanks for the information, buddy. Bye. Jeez. The disrespect is intolerable. Oh, that's funny. No real news. So we'll just zoom around the sectors real quick to make sure everything's good, and I will let you guys go. Last show of the week. Hope you guys had a good one so far this week. Hope you enjoyed the shows this week. I know I had fun doing them for you. Utilities pretty flat. Energy seeing a little bit more red. And Staples seeing red. So this is interesting. So Our defensive sectors, the exception of utilities, I guess marginally, are actually a little bit more bearish and moving bearish, while our tech is also moving bearish. So what was once a clean divergence is now they're all in sync. So we're seeing our growth come down, and we're also seeing our, at least staples are at the moment, but overtly most of our defensive sector moving down at the same time. Real estate moving down. In fact, everything trending down. Healthcare was strong, that's moving down. Industrial's moving down. Finance kind of flat. So we could see a little bit of a trend reversal. Now everything's going to the downside for this moment in time. Interesting. TD Burns is still here. Love it, man. Thank you for sticking around. Oh, man. Happy I reduced my size on those calls. They are smoked right now. 35 cents. Yikes. Well, that short play would have worked out. I'm not going to fool you. That wasn't the plan. I'm just making a joke. I clearly wasn't planning for this. You know I wasn't planning for this. I'm not going to lie and pretend I was. I wasn't thinking this was going to happen. Is what it is. All right, well, I guess I'll leave you guys with this. Be safe today. It's looking like we're actually getting some volatility today, which is good to see. Because the last 2 days have been a snore. But it's looking like we're getting a little bit of action today. So at least things will be a little fun and you'll find some opportunities. I still, believe it or not, even though we're seeing like these scary 5 minutes of price action here, I still really wouldn't be a bear unless you're trading intraday. So obviously you've gotten short here. You played that short. Fantastic. You did amazing. But I wouldn't overstay your welcome as a short today. In general, the way volatility is sitting, the risk to reward at this point in time still favors the bulls in general. Now, unless news did happen, no. So, the risk reward still would favor the bulls. So even if you see a, like, oh man, the bears made a lot of money, I personally wouldn't chase after it. I would just kind of let it be with how it is. And Negum says he kept the Q puts. God bless, man. Enjoy the money. Today was a scratch for me, ultimately. Scratched on the Q puts, and I basically scratched on the calls, so whatever. It is what it is. It happens. Can't be perfect. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up for the show. I hope you enjoyed the show with me today. I know I had a lot of fun with you guys today. We had a great Monday and a Tuesday show as well. So hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of the week. If you like the Big C segment, I'm going to put that up either today or tomorrow. So if you want to rewatch, get those levels. If you missed it or whatever, I recorded it. So it'll be up on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't, go subscribe over there. You'll get notified when it goes live. Now, with that being said, some say you will need an extra trade. Well, I like to look at things from a different angle, and that is always what we get right here on the Atomcash angle. Have a great rest of your day. And remember, precision beats prediction every damn time. I will see you guys next week. Make smart choices. Bye.
The time has passed, and that's a wrap.